Welcome back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast, where bold conversations meet business brilliance. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are diving into one of the most misunderstood and most mission critical parts of growing a successful company: casting a clear, compelling vision. And listeners, joining me is Austin Holmes. He's a powerhouse entrepreneur and visionary leader who co founded Publicity For Good, and now he leads Signal Raptor, which is a tech driven PR platform changing how startups and emerging brands approach media. Now, from Navy Special Ops to scaling a PR agency from a 23-foot Airstream, Austin knows what it means to lead with clarity, even when life is anything but calm. So, to all the listeners out there, if you are stuck in the day to day grind of your business or you feel like your team is rowing in different directions, this episode is your compass. So, with that, let's quickly dig in. Austin, welcome to the show, and I'm really excited for our conversation.
I'm really excited just in general, but always love hopping on these and providing as much value as I can.
Absolutely. And this is such an interesting and such a critical topic. It's industry agnostic. It's, for the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the founders. I mean, it's essential for everyone. I think we should have a personal vision as well, and then for our company as well. So with that, Austin, um, PR, product development, these are some high pressure environments, and you have built mission driven companies in these industries. So when you talk about casting vision, what does that actually mean in practice for a founder?
You have to start with the end in mind. If you don't know where you're going, it's just about impossible to cast a pathway, especially when you start involving other people that need to help you along the way. And to do anything significant, you
Mhm.
are going to need other people's help. And that might change one day. Crazy AI things going on, but it is so vital for you to be able to get people behind you working towards a mission. And so I think you said it, a mission driven. I've been that way for a long time. I got to see it early in life playing sports, driving towards championships, and then I had my own personal goal of getting into the special operations community and
Mhm.
was successful with that and loved that experience. But when you're in that community, the entire thing is mission driven itself. So I've had a pretty long line of progression from different missions, and I've seen a lot of different people cast that vision of how to accomplish the goals.
Hmm. Hmm. What I learn from you is here, as especially as you mentioned that you had a very clear vision, you were mission driven, um, that you knew your goal, you know your goal, and you are laser focused on that. And here, Austin, I would like to, I'm very curious to know that there can be distractions. Sometimes when we have a vision, let's say, I mean, it's a company, it's a startup, or, for self as well, we are bound to be distracted. I mean, it
Mhm.
would be inhuman if we talk, if we say that I'm not distracted by anything. How do you manage those distractions? How do you make sure that you are not distracted and you are still embarked on that path towards your goal, your vision?
Yeah, the distractions never stop coming. They get worse as you get further along.
Yeah.
I've managed it a bunch of different ways in my life. Sometimes it's just diving so deep into what you're doing and ignoring everything else. Like that does eliminate the distraction from you can do that on the physical side. You can turn off your phone as a small example of how to just you know let go of everything else that's going on and focus on one thing. Deep Work is a book that talks about that from a daily perspective on how to get stuff done. If you guys want a resource there. But the better way, I think, is knowing exactly what the plan is. And, that not everybody on your team is going to take the, shut off everything
Mhm.
and close the curtains and just focus on working. Make sure you have coffee for the next 6 hours. Like, not everybody's going to take that approach. And so, knowing exactly what needs to be done to the smallest level that you can make time for, that will keep you from doing the stuff that you don't need to be doing, keeping you away from the distractions. I've heard it put of working until you can't work anymore
Uh-huh.
is a great methodology, and then letting the distraction come at the right time after you've accomplished what you need to. Like, have your 3 or 5 things for the day that, "Hey, I'm going to do these no matter what, and I'm going to work until it's done, and then if I wanna keep working, cool." Or, like, "Hey, my day's done, I'm good. I know I can move to tomorrow and do the same thing."
Hmm. That's it, it, this is an intentional, a mindful approach. It's like to create a harmony between your um, goals and then distractions as well. And one thing I think listeners will really find it very relevant that we are mentioning about goals and then vision. Now, many founders they confuse goals with vision. So, uh, what exactly is the foundational difference between both of them, Austin, according to you?
Yeah, I can compare it, and then I'll go deeper into it. We have an onboarding document that asks a couple questions, and, 2 of the questions are, "What are your top 3 things for the day?" Kinda like what I just talked about. The other one is, "What is your intention for the day?" I think the same lesson, because when we ask the intention question, it's, what can you look back at today and say that it was a successful day because this? Like, you can't put "be a good leader" on a checklist very
Mm.
easily, but you can set that on your intention for the day and look back at the end of the day and say, "Hey, yeah, I was a good leader today." And I think goals versus vision act in much the same way. You might not be able to check off whether you've accomplished the vision for the day. Like, it might not have a metric associated with it. But if you're looking back at it a year after and you say, "Yes, we accomplished our vision. We made an impact in the world. We rescued whatever." That because how do you measure making an impact in the world?
Mm.
You can measure it with goals
Yeah.
and having numbers behind those, but it's like, "Hey, we, you know, provided 100,000 people with water,
Mhm.
or we dug 50 wells." Like, those would be on a water type, I'm blanking on the word, helping people.
Yeah.
So, uh, but,
Community based.
k looking at the vision side of that, it's like, "Hey, we want to make it water more accessible for more people." Like, that might be your mission statement or your vision statement. And I know there's, like, corporate ways of forming both those and having intention behind them. Um, but I think another way to look at that side of it, of mission versus vision, is internal versus external. Like, okay, for us, our mission is to serve our clients, but from the vision side, it's how do we change the media landscape? How do we change the PR industry to get more voices out there? That's a really hard thing to measure, and uh, by the time we accomplish that, the entire landscape has changed, and so you're not even measuring the same thing at the beginning versus the end.
Absolutely. I mean, goals can be short term or long term, but the vision, should it be constant or it can change according to the conditions, the circumstances?
I think it should change. I think part of a vision is guiding people towards moving forward. One of our core pillars in our business and our life really is growth.
Okay.
And, a lot of people compare this in the learning space, lifelong learning.
Hmm.
And I think that is a constant moving target. And in this case, it would be updating your vision constantly. If you're sticking with the same vision and if you accomplish the vision, this is the scary part. You accomplish your vision and then you don't have a vision anymore. So, it is a moving target. And sometimes, things change. you make a realization, hey, maybe that's not even what I actually want.
Mm.
Maybe you get halfway and you say, this is not a good place to go.
Mhm.
There's tons of guys who their goal is like, hey, I just want to make a lot of money. Well, when you get there, half of the time, those guys end up saying, hey, this isn't even like a worthy goal. Like it's helped me do stuff and it's helped me live a good life and helped me help a lot of other people. But is that what's important?
Mm.
And I think that's a great question to start with your vision is, what is important? And that's going to change for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That definitely makes sense, Austin. And now, since you are in PR, tech driven PR, it's right. Communication is at the heart of the entire PR industry. So, um, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see entrepreneurs or founders make when they're trying to communicate their vision? Like, let's say, either to investors or team members or the media.
They give up. That's the short answer is
Mhm.
they give up too soon.
Okay.
And sometimes somebody is never going to see your vision. We always run into this with family members. We have this great idea and everybody else is like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then you talk to your family and they're like, you're crazy, bro. And I think that happens in the marketplace in the same way of you might talk to 100 people and not have anybody support you in your vision. That doesn't make the vision bad. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it takes you talking to 10,000 people or 100,000 people to find somebody to back you and help you along in that vision. And so giving up when you're communicating what you want to accomplish, that is something that we see often. And it's even with, we work with a lot of food and beverage products.
Mm.
And some of the best ones, like the best product, just gave up and they stopped before they hit that mark of getting their message out to the world so that people knew who they were, that they found out, wow, this is an amazing company doing amazing things, helping people, and they have an amazing product, and they stopped.
Mm.
And, money is an excuse a lot of times with that. There is so much money out there. Sometimes it is just personal life stuff of, you know, asking the question, is this still important to me? Now,
Mm.
the vision for the brand might not coexist, or it might not end up coexisting with your vision for your life. So, everybody has to make that determination, on the individual level first. And then the easiest way to go find other people to help you with your vision for whatever you're working on is to share that vision and find out what their vision is. And then you can find the alignment between the two. Because you've already established yours, you've established your brand or your company or your nonprofits. Now you have to go find people to help you, right? So
Yeah.
finding out what they want and aligning that in a common purpose with what you're trying to achieve. And it's not going to be possible with everybody.
Mm.
And that's a reality that you have to face is not everybody's going to be on board with your vision. That's okay. If you get half the people in the world, like you're doing better than literally anyone else.
Yes.
So, um, yeah.
That's hard hitting. That's hard hitting, and I think it's the reality. It can be bitter, but when we see you look at the bigger picture, it is always sustainable and long lasting. Um, and with that, Austin, you built publicity for good. While living on the road with your wife and growing your family. I mean, on just a 23 foot Airstream, and you grew it from like 12K dollars to now, $163,000. I mean, per month. I mean, that is inspiring. It's impressive. So how did this, unconventional lifestyle, always on the move, influence the vision that you cast for your company culture?
Oh, There's a lot to that. For the company, we've actually shifted. And this is you asked, hey, should your vision shift over time? And it has for us. So the period of our life where we were traveling full time was amazing. And then we started having kids, and now we have 3. And that is amazing, but it does change perspective, and it changes what we want for our own lives in some ways. Not a tremendous amount. Like, it was kind of following the plan. It's scary to me when the plan works out
Mm-hmm.
and things go well. Like, that's I don't feel comfortable with that. But, the vision changed a little bit, and now we have a pretty clear vision on creating a pretty massive change in the PR industry. And part of it was the industry has been changing a whole lot over the past, 7 to 10 years. And with AI, there's an even bigger shift coming.
Yes.
And so we said we can be a part of that, or we can get left behind by that and then
Mhm.
figure out something else to do. So we said, all right, let's try and put our influence in this with the purpose driven aspect, making sure that positive messaging is at least still part of the conversation, making sure that people are still recognizing that it's awesome to make money, but it's even better to make money and do good along the way because you can do both. So the freedom aspect of being able to travel full time is absolutely still a part of it, but that has developed into ownership and people taking the responsibility and accountability
Mhm.
for moving things forward. And I think we're a lot less reliant on our own skills and intellect and ability than we were 5 years ago.
Okay.
And there's an independence to traveling full time. And this is all over Instagram, so you guys can check it out there. But, the whole, what's the saying? Not all who wander are lost. I've seen that so many times. So, uh, but now we know we want to do something together with other people and build something significant. And we recognize that in that there's higher responsibility on us. Uh, our team just crossed the 60 member threshold,
Oh.
60 team members. And I feel that weight. I feel these people's lives and how I can affect them. And that is something I am very thankful for, but
Mhm.
also, it is a responsibility. And so I know I need to do everything I can do to move things forward, to be a champion. That's one of the mindset shifts that we had along the way is we weren't as intentional with everything. But in having our family and starting to have many, many conversations on, what is our family going to represent? What are the core values of our family? A phrase kept popping up of let's be champions. So we
Oh.
say that to our kids constantly. And, we've applied that to the business and that team is how do we build a championship team? And to be called champions, you got to play at the highest level. So
Yeah.
that's really where we're going, and it's just as much about building it as the rewards that happen to come with it. So
It's really, really impressive. Really cool, Austin. And I just want to bring maybe it's not connected with the topic, but since you mentioned that, now you have the responsibility and then the accountability as well. There are 60 people and they're looking up to you. You have your family. I mean, um, and being an entrepreneur, a founder, it's not an easy feat. It requires a lot of mental, physical tenacity, lot of ups and downs. I mean, it's not easy. So, um, do you have any non-negotiables? Because you also come from a very high stake background, Navy special ops. So, do you have any non-negotiables when it comes to handling very stressful situations? When you are kind of unable to figure out anything. I mean, how do you calm and compose yourself?
Another really, really deep question. The non-negotiable side, there are some there, and our coach is David Meltzer, and he talks about non-negotiables constantly. So he would probably get on me for not having. Well, I mean, he wouldn't because he's just better than we are. But having non-negotiables is critical. Having things that you sit down and decide intentionally. This is a part of my life, and it needs to be a part of my life.
Mhm.
Um, for me, time with family is one. We try and have touch points every single day. Coffee talk is the thing whenever we're together. We try and have coffee talk in the morning. Even if it's for 10 seconds, we say what's going on and just having that common touch point. So that's one that has worked for us. There's so many more to develop, but I mean, the I forgot what was the other half of the question?
Yeah, I mean, when you are, let's say, dealing with a very um, tricky
Yeah.
situation, yeah, problem situation,
So
how do you calm yourself?
when it comes to stress management,
Yep.
I've been good at this for a long time, but I've helped Heather develop hers, and so I have perspective, internal and external.
Mhm.
The repetitions that you have in something greatly determines how comfortable you are with it. Uh,
Mhm.
having confidence and knowing what you're doing helps you eliminate stress. Not eliminate stress, but it greatly lessens it in those
Yes.
moments. Being able to deal with it is a practice of its own. And there's a lot of methodologies that people use for managing stress. Breathing is one of the most powerful that everybody can do. Um, taking that half second and taking the extra breath, then refocusing. One that I've been focusing on for my own development recently has been taking the emotion out of it. Like,
Mm.
this is more so on the business side, but
Mhm.
taking the emotion and saying, if this is a money problem, this is just a money problem. It can be fixed with dirty paper. Um, if it's a relationship problem, so much of that can be solved through communication.
Yep.
And an easy thing to do to fix some of that is get better at communicating, which takes work,
Mm.
which takes consistency.
True.
And that eliminates a lot of the stress of those situations. Um, and so I guess my point is it does depend on the situation because the way that we handled explosive problems is different than I handle a personnel problem. And it's about being prepared. It's about having those reps under your belt. It's even just having the knowledge. If you don't even know how to handle the situation, there's so much information available now from so many different sources. Go and explore some of them, and don't be afraid to um, try a bunch of different stuff. So, uh, as far as like handling real stress, like when it gets really bad, um, gratitude is probably the most powerful tool.
Mm.
Uh, one of our friends that we were in a group with a while ago, he has a great methodology of when you are in a stressful situation, find something to be thankful for.
True.
And my favorite example he had is I'm thankful for the baby that is screaming on the airplane behind me because it
Mhm.
means that I can hear and my ears are working.
Wow.
Uh, reframing stuff is such
Yeah.
powerful. And gratitude is definitely the direction to go with it.
It,
That removes a lot of stress by itself.
it is. It is. I mean, in fact, I would also say that, oh my goodness, not again, not again. But it's such a creative, such a good way of reframing. Um, and that's really good one that you shared, Austin. Um, and before we wrap up, I love that clarity, and I can see, I believe that. much of your inspiration definitely comes from your time in the Navy, special ops. So that clarity is absolutely, to learn something from. So I recommend this for all of our listeners as well. And before we wrap up, of course, if our listeners they would like to connect with you, Austin, explore more about the work at Signal Raptor and about your journey as well, what would be the best way?
You can find me on just about every social on or at a Austin Holmes. But you can also find our companies, Signal Raptor and Publicity for Good, all over the place, as well as my wife, Heather Holmes or Heather DeSantis, depending on the platform.
Lovely, lovely. I'll make sure to mention all the details in the show notes for our listeners. And Austin, thank you so much for giving us such a grounded, um, growth focused with clarity lens on what it really takes to cast and keep a bold vision alive. Especially when right now we are in the ever evolving, fast moving world of PR and tech. So, thank you so much. This was really great.
Thank you.
And to all the listeners out there, if today's episode has sparked something in you, whether it's a desire to revisit your company's why or the courage to realign your team, don't let that insight slip away. Revisit your vision this week and ask yourself, is this something I say or something I live? You can learn more about Austin and his work at Publicity for Good and Signal Raptor. Just refer to the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, keep building boldly. This is BizBlend, and I have been your host, Sana. Thank you.